That's actually before you get into it. Actually,
You better not steal
do
my
you ever raw dog the toilet seats, bro?
Are you crazy?
Okay, I'm just making sure, bro.
What, you do?
No, of course not. That's why I'm asking. You can't raw dog.
But there's
the seats,
a lot
bro.
of people who do. I
Bro,
work
there's
in-
no
let me-
way you could just
Brother,
hover. You gotta hover
listen,
over it.
hover?
If you really gotta go and you don't have time to build the nest, bro, you gotta hover over it. 100%.
I've never been in an emergency where I can't wait 10 seconds or not 10 seconds.
It's not just no, but here's the thing. It's the build up. It's the build up to like the putting the thing that makes you want to go more. You don't
It's
experience
true,
that.
it's
You know what I
mental,
mean?
it's mental.
It's like, for example, when you need to pee and you're holding your piss, right? And as you get closer to home, it intensifies, right? Because you know you're getting
Psychological.
close. Exactly. So
But here's the thing.
So
I work in an office building not too far from here.
yeah.
And there are some people in there, and I can't be certain, but they go in and I hear the toilet seat and I hear them go down very quickly. And all I can think is they could not have possibly dressed the toilet seat with paper in 3 seconds. So there's more than we think that are raw dogging the toilet seats.
Yeah, there could
And,
be. Yeah,
and
there could be.
what are they, just nasty people or what's the situation?
I mean, it's to each their own, I guess. But I wouldn't do it. That's fucking crazy,
That
bro.
just shows you that
That's
personal
that's
hygiene is not
that's a
as,
serious problem.
like my dad.
Like for example, did you know actually on this toilet topic? So one thing I learned while I was, where I was,
Yeah.
was the fact that so when you sit down on a toilet, bro, like you know how girls sit down to piss, right?
Yeah.
Okay. When as a guy you stand up to piss, when you piss and it hits the water, bro,
Splash
it
recoil?
splashes
Recoil.
out and it can splash up to like 6 meters around the base of the toilet,
Okay.
bro. That's fucking crazy. You don't think that's crazy, bro? That's gross, man. It's a little fucked up, especially if you're walking around your house with bare feet. You know what I mean? And then you go back into the bathroom after you just piss, and you could be stepping on some like sprinkled piss on the
That's
floor.
why
you know
eventually,
what
when we make it, we're gonna I'll have a cleaning lady every piss. Consuela?
I mean? No, it's not that serious.
Yes,
bro.
it is.
Oh,
Well, you just made it sound serious. That you have to watch out. Like,
Well, you do.
well,
But
you can you not control the speed of your piss, the velocity?
well, you got to try to hit it at an angle too. You
That's
know what I mean?
true. You got to
It's
hit the
top right
the
angle.
bowl
Yeah.
on the left side. Because if you
No,
go
I do-
directly
I
in
do
the
right,
bro,
yeah.
if you go directly in the splash, you're gonna have massive recoil.
That's right,
But if you
that's
go on
right.
the angle,
It's
it-
less.
it-
It's less recoil.
it absorbs.
It's still recoil, but
it's like water going on an umbrella. It just you know what I'm trying to say?
I know what you're saying, but it's definitely you got to hit it at
Okay.
angles.
But
you
the
know what I mean?
point that I was bringing up
Yeah,
here,
what were you trying to even get at
was
with
this.
with the toilet thing? I don't get what your washroom question was about.
I work in an office building on the 10th floor.
Mm.
There's 2 urinals back to back. I go to take a piss.
Back to, what do you mean by back
side
to back?
side, sorry. That's
Oh,
the
you
wrong
gotta explain
terminology.
that, yeah, because back
Okay.
to back is like it's
Side
weird,
to side. Okay. And what happens is I go to take a piss,
Mhm.
and then there's 2 toilet seats that are completely open. Some guy comes in to take a piss. He goes right beside me. Do you agree with that or
Man.
no?
No, that's weird. That's weird.
very weird.
If there's availability on the urinals, there should definitely be a space in between. I think that's just an unwritten rule.
No, that's
you know
not what I'm
I mean?
saying. There's only 2 urinals. I'm in one. I'm taking a piss, and there's 2 toilet seats that are open as well.
Oh, so there's 2 urinals and then there's 2 stalls.
Yeah.
And you're saying that the guy went to the urinal beside you?
Beside me.
Okay, well that's not as weird as if there was 3 urinals and he went right beside you.
Why
That's
is that not
little bit more-
weird? Why does he not go to the stall?
No, I said it's not as weird.
Okay, but wouldn't he?
It's still weird, but like in a situation where you're kind of walking in, like let's play out the scenario. So you're taking a piss at the urinal, okay? I walk into the bathroom and then I see you there. Depending on what's going on in that moment, like as far as like whatever it is that I'm doing, let's say we're in the office, okay? And I'm working, you're working, and we're both, working for different things in the office, okay? You're in the bathroom, you're taking a piss at the urinal. I walk in, depending on what I was doing, I might not have the capability to think that quick to like analyze it that deep. You know
But
what
it's
I mean?
not a deep analyzation.
No,
It's
no,
either
no, it is
piss right
because-
beside
no.
a guy or piss 3 feet away.
No, but
4
that's
feet away.
but that's what I'm trying to explain to you. So if there was 3 urinals and you were at one, it's an instant like understanding of like I'm not gonna go in the middle one, I'm gonna go on this one. It's just a quick understanding. There's no thinking about it. But if there's only 2, and the alternative is the stalls. Let's say I was just dealing with a bunch of stuff and there's a
But
lot
why
of
would
stuff
you not
on
go
my
to the stall?
mind.
Muscle memory would go to the stall to be farther away.
No, because the stall, it's
You know
kind
what
of
it
like
is?
no,
People are
because
thinking, "Oh, I don't want to inconvenience anyone and pee in the stall."
well, it's not just that, but there's more arithmetic to the stall.
Arithmetic?
Yeah, because you got to hit it at angles, bro. I'm not trying to like. I'm used to now just hitting it at an angle.
I don't have to hit
so
an
don't
angle. I just go
splash.
5 feet away and I 3-pointer.
No, I just you know what I mean.
Listen,
so I wouldn't go
The
right.
point is, what I'm
I
trying
don't
to
know
say,
if I'd go right. I'd
listen,
have to
I've
be in
had
a
that
situation.
I was taking a piss and some guy comes right beside me and I was thinking to say something, but I'm a polite guy. I zip up and I just go to the other one and I just make like a sound like this. Like, who comes to
And
go
you-
right beside
and you
me?
went
and
to
I
the
go
what?
to the stall.
Why
And
would
he
you-
must be thinking, wow, I must have made a mistake. So now, next time he comes to see me, he's going to go to the stall because he knows that he made a big mistake.
Like I said, it's one of those toss-up ones, right? Because there's only 2 urinals, and then the alternative is the stall,
Yeah, what's
right?
wrong with
And
the
you,
stall?
yeah, but no, it's not that there's anything wrong with the stall, but just automatically, like in my brain, a stall is for like shitting. You know what I mean? I'm not
I think
thinking.
that's everyone's mentality. I
And
guess I'm
that's
unique
what it
in
is.
that. I'm unique.
But that's what I'm saying, right? So because the automatic mentality is the stall is assigned to shit, right? It's not assigned to piss. It'd have to take a second to really kind of analyze the situation and then be like, okay, I got to go to the stall.
Okay, here's another question.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
right?
I'm sorry to keep on the stall situation, but this is a
Yeah,
good
what's
question.
with the- what's with
Well,
the
it's a good one.
fucking-
It's a good
what's
one.
with the washroom
People want to hear it. If you're taking a dump and someone, if you're taking,
I don't know if people wanna hear that,
They
bro.
do. They do. If you're taking a dump and someone's right beside you taking a dump,
Yeah.
are you self-conscious about the noise? And are you trying to like?
I'm more self-conscious, but here's one thing that I learned from where I was. It's another thing, actually. It's called courtesy
I
flushing.
told you about courtesy. Well,
No,
you told
no,
me,
but
but
I learned about it
Yeah.
many years ago.
I know. Go
But
ahead.
courtesy flushing, right? So as it's coming out, not to get too graphic here,
Go ahead.
you flush. So what that does is it eliminates the odor by quite a lot, actually, and it covers up the sound.
yeah, I've been
So-
courtesy flushing ever since I heard about it. But my point is, are you self-conscious about the sound, not the flop, but
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, like regardless of if there's somebody right beside me or not, I think that like, anybody would be self-conscious.
so
just
if
gonna
you're at
start-
home taking a shit by yourself, you're self-conscious about the noise that you make.
No, but you gave me the scenario of in a bathroom with somebody
Yeah.
beside me. If I'm in my own home, that's different.
Okay, so so you are self-conscious.
I think everybody is.
I'm not.
Why-
I used to be. Then I thought to myself, why am I going to inconvenience my own shit when someone else hears shitting all the time? I just let it go and I go
And you just go right deep into it.
balls deep.
I don't know. I guess, you know what I mean? I never really.
Yeah, you have thought about it, obviously. Because
Well,
every
yeah,
time you
I-
take a shit, you're self-conscious saying,
I-
oh,
well,
shit,
I'm
I hope
not
the
so-
gym- I hope the
not
gym
to-
doesn't
not-
know that I make a shit.
Not to that point, but like, yeah, I'm definitely, I think that's like a natural thing. And you know what it is? As you get older, you start giving less fucks. It's the reality of it.
No, I think it's the opposite. When you're a little kid, you don't even think about those
No,
those things.
when you're a little kid, but we're talking as like from the ages of 18, or when you can start more or less kind of consciously understanding shame and
Okay.
embarrassment, right? Which is like probably maybe around 12 or 13 or whatever. You are a lot more self-conscious about shit in your life than you are when you're like 60.
But wouldn't it be better
ever-
if we never had that shame, embarrassment, and we just lived our life?
It'd be ideal, but I don't think that it's a thing. Like if you ever go to the gym and you see these 60-year-old dudes just walking around with their flaccid cocks out, you know what I mean? Like that's like they have no shame.
don't
Like
have
some of
anything
these
to go for, yeah.
guys are like, it's just it's fucked up, bro. They're just walking. They got no shame, bro. They just don't care. They just don't care. So I think as you get older, you just start giving
but I
less
think
fucks
that's
about
a-
shit. You know what I mean?
That's I'm envious of that trait. I think it's good.
A part
to
of
not
me
give a fuck.
was, particularly when I was younger, like 21, 22,
now?
23. Now, like I'm getting closer to that. Like I don't give a fuck anymore either, right? Not to their extent, but like I'm telling you, as you get older, you start giving, you don't care as much. Yeah,
That was a good intro.
Well, we were talking since we're talking about shame and embarrassment. I guess we
Yeah.
might as well talking about that a little bit. We might as well get into the whole, when you give it, you take it type thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
you're
the history behind that, right? So where that came from, the whole giving it and taking it was when we were kids, and we used to work for this guy, right? And we used to go door to door for this guy. He was giving it, you know what I mean? Like we were literally just.
But for people who don't understand what we're saying,
Yeah.
what does that mean? Giving it?
well, he was.
You can be graphic. It's
He
okay.
was spreading some cheeks, buddy. He was giving it dry, no spit. I mean, if we're gonna be honest here, like it's pretty much, like
But that's a euphemism to say what?
to say that like the guy's
Explain
making
it.
money off of you. The guy's taking advantage of the situation a little bit. You know what I mean? He's
Okay.
giving it, bro. I
Okay.
think it's kind of self-explanatory.
Okay.
You know what
Well,
I mean?
not for everyone. Go ahead.
Well,
I understand what you mean because I invented it. But
you did, yeah, you did come up with that. But the guy was, kind of giving it to us at the time, right? It wasn't as big of a deal because we were 14. We didn't really have responsibilities. Like who gives? Who
but did we
cares?
know we were taking it at that time?
But that's what I'm saying. So this is what I was saying, going back to what we were talking about with the whole shame thing and the embarrassment. And when you're young, as you get older, you kind of lose that shame. At the time, when you're young, you don't look at the world that way. You have a very like innocent look at like how things function, and you don't really understand the scope of things, right? And as you get older, you start realizing, holy fuck, like, you know what I mean? Like these guys are sitting here, I'm making them millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I'm just sitting here fucking trading my most valuable asset, which is time, to make a little smither of the pie, and they're just sitting at home on their gut, just giving it to everybody, bro.
But you
So
know
it's
how I
just-
thought about giving and taking? I now, like, you know how you were talking about in the last episode, you remember vividly when you were 3. There's certain things I remember. And I remember my dad actually told, like, he was happy for me. Like, I showed him, like, Dad, I made $50 today. I was 14. He was happy. And then he said, Aubrey, how much are you getting per sale? I said, whatever, 18. He said, they're making this, like, more than you, right? The guys on top.
Oh,
I was
is
like,
that
Dad,
how you
like,
get?
I was like, Dad, no, that's not true. He's a good friend. He's a good guy. He's probably making a salary or something, Dad. That's what they told me.
Oh,
And
man.
and he instilled in me from a very young age, Aubrey, not everything is the way it seems.
Yeah, 100%. But the thing with that is, once you kind of like understand, and I think that it hits people at different ages too. I think that people don't make these realizations
Some
necessarily.
people never make them.
But that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like it's
Or some
crazy.
people put it in the back of their mind and they don't want to think about it.
Yeah, they try to turn a blind eye to it. Yeah, but the thing is, like, once you realize this, man, like that this is how shit functions, it's hard to not walk into a place wherever it is you're working or whatever it is you're doing and not analyze where the money, like, from the top to the bottom is coming. You know what I mean?
If you have
Like,
that mindset, yeah.
and where do you fit in that equation? You know what I mean? So it's tough to go
It's a
anywhere. and-
mindset. It's a mindset.
Well, it is because then you become a little bit, nobody likes to take it for too long, right? I mean, you get a little
Yeah,
sore
one-
after a while, right?
Once you realize that there's some people giving and some people taking it, you think to yourself, well, why do I need to take it?
Well, that's
You
exactly
say,
it.
maybe I need to take it temporarily so I can give it.
Yeah, that's right.
But
that's right.
eventually,
If there's a benefit, like if there's a learning curve or some experiences that you might not be too familiar with, that you kind of need to be in that particular, whether it's corporation or under a certain person or franchise or whatever, that's different. You know what I mean? But like, for example, actually a great example of this is, so I remember you used to work for a debt collector. You remember that, right? So you went and you started collecting debt. And there was some commission associated to that, which you can obviously speak to better than I can because you were working there. And I remember one of the times I spoke to you about this, you had said to me, well, the plan here is I'm going to learn the business, learn how it works to eventually start my own thing, which I found out later that you did, right? But the whole mindset behind that is why? Well, you're not going to work for this guy. And let's say you're collecting a $10,000 debt and the guy, you collect the debt and the guy's, taking $9,500 and tossing you a quick 500, you're taking it and you're taking it quite deep at that point if that's all he's giving you, right? So you sit there with the mentality of, I'm going to take it for a bit, you know what I mean? Like but I can't take it forever because I get a little sore after a while and I got to, do my own thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
Like, for example, with the charities, right? When we were working with the charities, and we talked about this a little bit not too long ago, when we were working with the charities, so they contract out a third party vendor, right? And I call them the big 5. There's 5 of them,
So many, yeah.
right? And out of the 5, these are the main 5 companies that hold contracts with the charities. The charities don't like dealing with too many people because, again, it's a reputation thing, right? So they deal with these 5 companies, these third-party companies, and these third-party companies, what they do is a lot of them build their own in-house offices so that they're directly under them, and some of them contract out 4-party companies to come in on board and use essentially the access that they have to the contract with the charity, right? So as a 4th-party vendor, you come in to their third-party contract to the charity, and you are obviously taking a cut because if the charity's giving these guys $500 a pop, they're not going to give you $500 a pop. It makes no sense. They might give you, $350. They're making $150 off of you. But in an instance like that, that's an example of it's okay to take it a little bit because you're still coming
But I
out.
think-
You're still
yeah.
coming out heavily on top. You know what I mean? Like if you're taking it 80-20, that's okay. 70-30 is fine. But when they're giving it to you like 30-70, that's no good. You know what I mean? Like
Well, I
if
think
you're
no matter what, you're always taking it to some degree. Unless you're
there's
Elon Musk.
there's no way to not. There's like
Elon doesn't take shit
no,
from
that's
nobody.
what I'm saying. Unless you're part of the 1% in the world, there's no way to not.
Have you watched Elon Musk interviews? There was a recent one where he was getting interviewed because he recently bought Twitter, renamed it X, as I'm sure you know.
Of course, yeah.
Which,
And he reinstated a lot of very
He's
important
one guy
people.
that like I'm really proud of that guy. He's really,
Elon Musk.
Yeah.
I don't know why people are kind of really obsessed with that guy. I don't really understand the whole obsession with him. Like obviously he's very intelligent, and yes, he's
It's not
he's
about
done
being
some
intelligent,
things,
bro. He started Tesla with his whole reasoning.
Half of those cars are breaking down, bro. It's all over the news, man. Like they're not.
Bro, it doesn't matter. He started an industry.
Have you seen the new
No, let me
Tesla
tell you.
housing?
Let me tell you.
Have you seen the
I'll-
new
yeah, but let me tell you-
built out
Yeah,
houses?
but let me tell
That's
you why
crazy.
Elon's good. He started a brand new industry of electric cars. And he was asked, well, what if you inspire Ford and you inspire all these companies and they get ahead of you? He said, well, great. My goal is to start and expand the electric car industry.
Right.
So he did that. He he bought Twitter, which was a liberal leftist organization that
was a good move.
that
was a good
canceled
move.
and silenced conservative or traditional
Yeah.
views
Yeah.
that was involved in politics. He privatized that and has a free market with freedom of speech.
And reinstated everybody.
He what's the other? He has SpaceX, where he's trying to get people to Mars. He's just doing so many things that are pushing the world further ahead.
Look, I'm not saying he's not. I just
So that's the hype around it. Is that's what he's doing.
I guess.
There's no like even sure Jeff Bezos and all these people they're good too, but well Jeff
Do
also
you think we'll be alive what do you think we'll ever become an intergalactic species?
define intergalactic species.
Well, intergalactics. We're the humans. Okay, we live on Earth. We don't live anywhere else. We haven't expanded our horizons anywhere else because we haven't colonized anywhere else. So when we become intergalactic, we're going up into space and expanding our race into the galaxy. That's why it's intergalactic.
Yeah, but you have to be more specific. What does that mean? Landing there?
Are we
having
gonna
babies there?
are we gonna colonize another planet or go to another planet where we're gonna
Within our lifetime?
Yes.
I think we will definitely reach Mars. A human will reach Mars within our lifetime, meaning let's say the next 100 years. I think it's going to be sooner than we think. I think
we haven't even colonized the moon, bro.
Bro, you used the wrong word. We're not going to colonize.
Of course, we're colonizing. We're conquerors. That's what we do, bro. We're humans.
I would have to look up
We're colonizing, bro. That's what colonizing is.
If we wanted to colonize,
we would literally, okay,
bro.
Assuming this was possible, okay, I think at some point in time, we will become an intergalactic species. And I think that just like how we hop on a plane and go to Europe or Africa or Asia, it will become feasible for your, regular John Doe to be able to buy a ticket, your middle-class person, onto a fucking spaceship and go to another planet, bro. And visit their fucking grandma.
Sure, but that's
mean?
going to have to be a long time ahead. You know why?
That's why I'm saying.
But do you know why?
There's obviously some time to it.
Why? Why? It's going to take time?
Because we haven't even colonized the fucking moon. So
Bro,
obviously
you're using the wrong word. It's not colonized.
It's colonized, bro.
That's going to be funny. That's a good clip.
It's called. That's what colonizing is.
Maybe conquer or populate or
no colonizing, bro. When you go to a place and you build a society.
Is that what colonize? Well, how did Christopher Columbus?
Can we look up colonize?
Can we look up colonize? How did Christopher Columbus colonize the Dominican Republic?
When he hopped on a motherfucking boat and he landed there, put the flag and told the natives to bounce.
You just said that he establishes a society? Is that what you said?
Well, yeah.
There was already society there.
No, listen. Okay, but when we go to Mars, there might be a society. How do we know there's no society there?
Let me read this. The action or process of settling.
Okay, I'm right.
The action or process of settling among and establishing control over the indigenous people of an area.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Exactly. Colonizing.
No, that is correct.
Yeah,
but we can't colonize a planet that doesn't have an existing habitat.
How do we know it does? Listen, bro.
Bro, you think there's little monkeys running around on Mars?
It doesn't have to be monkeys. So you're telling me there's no other species in the world? We're the only ones.
That's not what I said.
We're the only ones.
You said we haven't colonized the moon yet, which implies that there's people or beings on the moon.
Bro.
I got you. You got to admit when you're
wrong.
Got
me there.
Okay, give me that.
Okay, you got me there. You got me there.
Okay, good.
Okay, maybe not the moon, but on Mars, we don't know if there's something.
We
could use colonizing in that instance. Because we don't know if there's any.
We can only colonize and use that word colonize if there's a species there.
Already. Okay, but we don't know if there's a species in Mars or not.
Well, haven't they put the Mars rover there? And
it's some little fucking robot, some like fucking ET robot walking around. Like, how are we supposed to just trust that thing? You know what I mean?
I agree. I think, like, I watch a lot of History Channel, and they say at one point, several hundred millions of years ago, there was life on Mars. And there's evidence of a nuclear bomb that was done on Mars.
Well, look,
there's evidence.
I don't know. Apparently, Mars is habitable, is what I've been told.
Not as it is right now.
And
they have to do the ozone layer or some shit.
Well, apparently there's like a moon in Jupiter that we can also.
There's tons of moons.
No, I know, but there's one that they're looking at places that can be habitable for the human race. And I believe it was a moon. There's a moon in Jupiter. I can't remember the name. And and Mars was the other option. Because we have to be a certain distance from the sun, otherwise we start, melting and stuff.
The only habitable planets are Earth and Mars.
I don't think Mars. What? Who told you that? I don't think Mars is completely habitable, bro.
It's not yet. The average temperature in Mars, I think, is negative 23 degrees.
Oof.
Chris, can we check that? Average temperature in Mars. You know what this reminds me of? Joe Rogan podcast when they asked Jamie to look something up. But average
Bro, I'm
temperature.
pretty sure I was still right when I was saying colonizing the moon,
No,
bro.
I think I got you on that. You already dabbed up, so I'm
No,
locked in.
no, listen.
But we're gonna
It
check.
doesn't make any sense, bro. It's
Bro-
still we haven't settled in the moon.
That's
We
why I was
haven't
saying it's the
settled.
wrong word.
We
I
haven't
knew what you were
settled.
trying to say.
But look, it says the action or process of settling.
Average temperature negative in Mars is negative 63.
81. Yeah, that's crazy.
So that's uninhabitable. I guess.
I've actually been close to that temperature when I was in Alberta. I was at minus 59. I got screenshots of it on my weather app.
Were you outside?
Bro, you couldn't go outside. Like I stepped outside, obviously, but you literally couldn't go outside for longer than a certain amount of time. It was crazy, bro. It was crazy. Like my dogs, like they poked their little nose out and they were like, "Fuck this!" They just stepped back in. Like
Who takes your dogs for a walk?
my mom walks my dogs, bro.
How often?
3 times a day, I think. Before she goes to work, when she comes
How
back
old
from
are
work, they're 7, bro. I miss like half their lives, bro.
It's okay.
It's
They
pretty
remember
bad.
you? Oh,
They remember me,
did
yeah,
I ask
they
you how
remember.
it was when you returned to them? Did I ask you that question?
No, you didn't. But
So tell me how they acted.
it was like I never left. It's crazy. It's
Oh,
like,
so they remembered
they-
you completely.
Yeah, they don't have they don't have really a sense of time like we do, right? Like to them, like a minute it's the same as like 10 hours. You know what I mean? They don't really have a sense of time like that.
And they were wiener dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And you have 2 of them.
I had 3, gave 1 away, and now I have 2.
Your mom's
Yeah.
pretty good for holding them down, you know what I mean?
But going back to the whole intergalactic thing,
Yeah.
you're saying we'll become an intergalactic species at some point in time, not in our lifetime, but you
No,
do
I said-
believe
I
that
said
a
within our
human-
lifetime.
No.
I said within our lifetime. I want to, bro.
Bro, there's
but
no way
Elon-
we're gonna become an. You're saying that somebody
Absolutely
going
will.
to Mars and landing on Mars and putting the flag on there, that doesn't make us intergalactic, bro.
Well, that will
That just
happen,
makes
number
us
one.
exploring
We will have
another
no,
planet.
we will have a colony.
Uh-huh.
So what is colonization? Colony.
That's what I kept telling you. It's
Well,
colonization,
well,
bro.
I still win. We're going to have a settlement. Is the right word.
It's the process of it. Just look, the definition was up to the process of settling is colonization. That's what I'm telling you.
No, they
It's
said taking over
colonization.
another. I was right on that one, but it's,
No,
okay. Well,
I
we're
kind
50-50.
of regret. Look, it
see,
says right
Chris
there,
is so good.
the action or process of settling among and establishing control over the indigenous people of an area.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
indigenous
it's
people.
the action or process of settling, bro. You know what I
But
mean?
you have to read. You can't just have half the definition and say, "Oh, that's all I'm going to take is half." You have to read the whole thing. But there's multiple definitions. Let's see. Go up
But
a bit,
that's
Chris.
also. But here's the thing with that definition. That's also assuming there's indigenous people in that area. If there isn't, doesn't mean you can't colonize. Still, you can still colonize it. Just because there's no indigenous people, you're still building a colony. You're building houses, a society. You know what I mean? Like you're colonizing. bro.
According to the definition, you're incorrect. But I knew what you were trying to say. But let me see the second definition: the action of appropriating a place or domain for one's use. By that definition, you are correct, because that has nothing to do with indigenous people. See, I can admit when you're right, bro. You see that? Yeah,
Listen,
they're
I'm pretty
appropriating
sure
a
I was
place.
using the right word, man. But all I'm saying is we're going to be colonizing other planets at some point in time, and it's going to become the
Listen,
norm,
when the
or it's going to
aliens-
become very regular for spaceships to go to other planets, just like,
It already is.
and you know how we have a passport, and it says like the country we're from
Yeah,
or
we're gonna have
whatever?
an Earth passport.
We're going to have a passport. No, we're going to have an intergalactic passport that's going to show the planet we're from and the country in that planet that we're from. You see what I'm saying? So so essentially it'd be like an extra line on your passport. So it would say your country, which Canada in this case, and then it would say Earth.
So why do you?
Or whatever country's in Mars, and then it would say Mars. You know what I mean? That's what I think it eventually get to. I don't know how soon from now, like maybe 200, maybe 300 years from now, but I think that it will eventually get there.
Why do you think Elon is making the move to go to Mars?
Well, because he's trying to
If you don't know, it's okay.
explore. I don't know. No, you're asking me, and I'm.
I watched a lot of Elon interviews.
Okay,
From
well,
what he
why
said,
is he? Why is he?
he wants to do exactly what you said. He wants to make the human race an intergalactic species
Mm-hmm.
because I think from science and history, planets don't last forever. And Earth is great now, but the atmosphere changes, the habitability changes, how comfortable it is for us to live here. So
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Actually, on that note, you're saying that Earth isn't gonna, it changes, which you're right. Which actually brings up a whole nother debate on its own about intergalactic species and about what Elon was doing, which I just recently, I think I saw something about it. But anyways, it was, some people feel like we should be trying to, like all these billionaires should be trying to put their resources into trying to fix what we as humans have broken, as in trying to better Earth so that it is habitable and we can extend its life. And some people just think like, fuck that shit, let's just go to another planet.
I think
What do you
what
say on that?
happens to Earth is inevitable. We might be expediting the process, but I think climate change has been happening for thousands of years. And I don't think
don't-
if we turn to electric cars and we stop polluting, all of a sudden we're going to save the planet. The planet's going to go through a cycle regardless. It goes through the ice age, it warms up. There's a the dinosaurs die.
but when you
Shit
say
happens,
but
bro.
when you say it's only a matter of time for Earth, what do you think is going to happen? That Earth is just going to fall off the Milky Way and go into another galaxy? Like, what do you think is going on?
No, I
Like,
think
it's just not going to be
it's
habitable.
cycles. If you look at history, an ice age happened.
Hmm.
Before the ice age, there were beings. There were people, not whatever people, Homo sapiens, whatever you want to call them. There were animals, living things on Earth.
Hmm.
And the ice age, I think, demolished a lot of species. And then when the Earth eventually warmed up, the ice melted, species emerged. So I think the temperature rises and declines in stages. And I can't tell you what's going to happen to the Earth like later down the line, but I think it's in our best interest to be interplanetary species. So that way we always have a second option.
I don't think interplanetary is a word.
I think interplanetary, Chris, please.
I don't think it's a word,
We're
bro.
putting Chris to work here. Oh,
I really-
interplanetary.
I don't think it sounds like it could be a word. Like, for example, did you know insectophobia? That sounds like a word, right? It's actually not a word.
I wouldn't say it's a word, but
It's-
interplanetary. It might be hyphenated, but
I think you said interplanetary.
that's what I said.
Interplanetary.
Oh man, I'm too good. Give me another dap.
Situated or relating to travel between. Okay, what were we talking about? What context is using it?
I said we're going to be an interplanetary species. We're going to have it. We're inhabit multiple places.
Okay, fair enough.
That-
Okay, that's
okay,
good.
that's
That's
two.
good. That's good.
Um,
I think that the first one.
yeah, the first one. No, the first one I
get.
get. Yeah,
yeah. I
but
think the
you
first one I
already
fucked up on.
think. Do you
Yeah.
see that on Google where it shows you the go up a bit, Chris? No, up. You see, that chart. The chart. I'm going to show you. You see, if you type in a word, it shows you how.
Often it gets searched.
No, not how. What's the word I'm looking for? How
Mentions.
how
No,
common it was.
It says
in-
right there, mentions, bro.
Yeah.
So how often it gets
Not
searched?
searched. Do you think it was being searched in the 1800s? It shows you how often it was being spoken about.
Oh, it wasn't being searched in the 1950s either, and it's still peaking.
It's not about searching, bro. It's about how often the word was used. Like, type
Mm-hmm.
in a word. Can you type in this word, debonair? Debonair. Do you know what that means or no?
Deblo what?
Debonair. You don't.
Debonair. No,
My grandmother taught me this word.
I-
It's
I
another word for handsome, but I'm going to show you
debonair.
debonair. It's like
I know a
used
lot
in
of
the
words. I didn't know that one, bro.
Yeah.
I'm actually,
And
hold
scroll
on.
down for me, Chris. Hopefully we can see the chart. Oh, there's no chart. But it is
Oh,
a chart.
there's a chart.
Well,
right
actually,
there.
according to this, you see use over time.
Yeah.
According to this, actually, it is popular now. Maybe not. It's old French, old English, whatever. That's the
Right.
point I'm trying to say.
Debonair.
Debonair.
Oh, it's a new word. But anyways, we never even finished taking it and giving it situation either.
Did we? We didn't finish?
We just kind of got into the intergalactic. How the fuck did we even get into this?
But
conversation?
intergalactic. Oh, bro, it's such a good topic. Okay, fine. We can go to.
It's a massive topic. Massive topic.
I
don't think
let
we
me
got
just
time
finish
for
with
it.
this one. Now, I don't know if you weren't around at this time, but a year ago or so, what's the guy who owns Virgin Mobile?
I don't even.
Richard Branson, I think his name. The guy, I think that's his name, Richard Branson. The guy who has like hair down to here. Basically, he started a company along with Elon started his company called SpaceX.
Hmm.
Jeff Bezos started his company called Blue Moon or something.
Mhm.
And they're all having a race to get to space.
Yeah, it's a competition. Yeah.
And people were paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to take the first flight.
What do you mean that guy went up there?
Tons of
The
people went up there.
William guy, the
Huh?
Star Wars guy or something. William Shatner. He's like 90 years old. He's
William
like the,
Shatner?
yeah, he's like the
He's my
oldest.
boy.
He's the oldest. He's the oldest person to have gone up to space.
He's got balls to do that, bro.
Yeah,
Would you go up to space?
100%.
On the first flight?
Yeah,
On
100%.
the test flight?
No, it wasn't a test flight, bro. They had already sent a couple
Well,
things up there.
Yeah, but
It was a little bit more safe than that. But yeah, of course, there's risk with everything. right?
as the technology progresses, it's going to become less and less expensive. Just like the first Tesla that came out was super expensive. Now you can get a Tesla for 40, 50,000.
Well, that's what that's what I said. I said it's gonna become very. It's gonna get to the point where it's gonna become very, feasible for the regular Joe Smo working at fucking McDonald's. Maybe not McDonald's, but having a middle class job to just buy a ticket. A couple thousand.
What do you think all the flat earthers are going to say if they take a flight up there and they see the Earth is round?
I think it's a belief system. We talked about this last time. I think that
We never talked about flat earthers.
no, but we talked about belief and that if you instill,
Is it going to crush their beliefs?
I
Mental breakdown?
don't know, man.
There's a lot of like what I see from the way they speak, like a lot of somewhat intelligent people who believe that the Earth is flat.
I think it's maybe like a hype train that people are hopping on just to kind of be different. you
Yeah,
know what I
like
mean?
because
just to try to be a little bit.
they're in the
different.
category of like question things before you believe them, which I agree. You should question things before you just take them at face value.
To an
But-
extent, like you can't really do that with religion. You know what I mean?
Of
Like
course,
religion.
what do you mean you can't do that?
Well, no, you can't, because when it gets to a point where you start asking too many questions, there's no rational or logical answer to. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like,
if you go to a
that's why it's
rabbi-
called a belief.
if you go
Because
to a rabbi or a
believe
priest-
that that's how it works.
if
You
you go
have
to- listen.
faith that that's what it is. But the reality is, it's not necessarily like, you know, explainable. I can't. It's not 2 + 2 = 4.
No,
You
that's
know what I
true.
mean?
That's
So
That's true.
it's one of those. It's one of those things.
So Andrew Tate says men who engage in sexual activity with women because it feels good are gay. Oscar, comments?
Okay, here's the thing with Tate, right? Okay, so I think Tate is somebody that the world needs, particularly and I'll explain why I say that. He's like, okay, so you got all of these modern day feminists that are coming out left, right, and center, you know, trying to essentially turn the tables, and because they feel like women have been oppressed, so now we're gonna try and oppress men and push them down. And he's one of the few guys that are fighting back. With that being said, though, and in that same tone, Tate as his views are quite extremist. You know what I mean? Not to say that that they don't make sense, or that, like, you know, when you really sit there and think about what he's saying, it doesn't add up. It does, but it's just like a lot of the scenarios that he'll present are so like, I'm a probability guy. You know what I mean? Like, so he'll say things like, you know, guys can't be friends with girls because at the end of the day, there's really no benefit. Right? Because you're not fucking this chick, but you're still expected to do certain things. Like if you're walking down the street, and this is verbatim what he would say, you're walking down the street and somebody steals her purse, and now you're walking with her and you're expected to go and chase this guy down and get her purse back, and you're literally getting no fucking benefit out of the equation, which again, it's true what he's saying. But man, like, let's really logically think about this.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna be friends with a chick,
Because of
and
a small probability.
just on in the off chance that some jackass walking down the
But
street
I think he was just using
is
that to
gonna-
prove a point.
and that's what I'm saying. And the point is, like, he got the point across, and it makes sense what he's saying. But I think that it's just the view is a little bit extreme, right? So this is one of those things where he's saying, well, men who engage in sexual activity with women because it feels good are gay. Again, it's a little extreme.
I don't get it. I don't get what he means.
Oh, well, I get the point. I get
What's
what
the
he's
point? I don't get the point.
He's trying to say that, like, when you're younger, you're kind of just trying to be a little bit more promiscuous and sleeping
How's
with
that
girls.
gay?
No, because he's trying to say that, like, you get over that eventually as you get older in your
That's
life.
not gay.
But he's trying
I think he's saying it's like
he's trying
it's like
to-
lame.
No,
But
but
it's not.
that's what he's trying to say.
Yeah.
He's trying to say,
Used
like,
the wrong word.
he's trying to use it as, like, back then, which, by the way, he's being a little bit hypocritical right here, because he's probably done this when he was younger. 100%, I guarantee you.
I think he's doing it for shock value. He knows what to say to garner attention. I think he's doing it for shock. I don't think he necessarily believes everything he says. I think he's a master marketer.
Well, no. It's the thing is he speaks with confidence, and when you speak with confidence, it's a lot easier to make people believe what you say, and it's a lot easier to make people follow what you say.
Right.
That's number one. And number two, he speaks with conviction. And a lot of people lack this, right? So when you're speaking and you're expressing yourself, if you've ever watched the way he does it, it's actually quite remarkable. Like the way he speaks and how long, and his longevity and how long he's been doing it. It's
He's a master
crazy.
communicator.
Yeah, he's very good. He's mastered what I would say is the art of essentially expressing yourself,
Communication.
communicating yourself. Yeah, like, you know, articulating yourself, right? And it is a powerful tool to have, I think,
the
in your
best.
life. I think if you're able to articulate yourself in a well presented manner, you're gonna be able to open a lot more doors in your life. You know
I
what
agree,
I mean?
I agree.
So I think that's what he's perfected. He's able to talk very, very well.
Okay.
Right. So, I mean, to go back to this, men who engage in sexual activity with women because it feels good are gay. Again, I think the bigger picture here that he's trying to paint is a lot of these young kids try to feed their ego and boost their ego by living a promiscuous lifestyle. Right. And it's one of those things where they're just going from one to the next in an attempt to essentially, you know, try to rake up the numbers of how many women they've been with. And he's trying to essentially say,
He's
like,
saying there's no point to do
yeah,
that.
you're being immature, you're being stupid. Like,
Yeah.
there's more to life than that.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
eventually you'll realize that. And he's 36, 37 or something along, like, I think he's just shy of 40
Yeah,
anyways. So he's gotten to that point in his life where he understands now at the end of the day, it's really all the same shit
Yeah.
when you really think about it.
Yeah.
Like, it's a mental thing for us, right? I think it's just more of an ego thing for
I
men.
gotcha.
But if you really think about it, pussy's pussy, bro. There's not really like, yeah, okay, there's a little bit of different shapes here and there and a little bit of, but it's
I think
more
an
necessary.
undertone of what he's saying is that you shouldn't succumb to physical pleasure. You shouldn't make actions just solely based on physical pleasure.
Well, he's now become Muslim, I think, right? So or he's
Well, regardless of religion.
no, well, no,
that's a good-
no. The religion's very important, right? Because in the Islamic religion, the belief is, and in the Orthodox Jewish religion too.
In Christianity,
Well,
you can't have sex without marriage.
Well, you can't have sex without marriage, but the belief is not that you can only have sex for the purposes of procreation, right? Whereas in the Islamic beliefs and in the Judaisms as well, right? Particularly Orthodox Jews, they have a sheet when they have sex.
That's not true.
Yes, it is, brother.
Oh
Yes,
goodness.
it is, bro.
You're telling
Listen.
me that's the biggest myth. Just like
It's not a myth, bro. Listen,
it's
Orthodox,
100%
buddy,
a myth.
I grew up right at Forest Hill. I'm telling you.
And you went in, you saw them use a sheet. I can guarantee you.
I don't have to go in to see them use the sheet. Talking about that, actually.
Okay, no. Stay on the same topic. Why do you think they use a sheet?
Because they don't believe that sex is for pleasure. So they have a hole at the bottom. They stick their dick through. They fuck their wives. The sheets covering their wife.
Use some
and
more
their
respectful
purposes.
language when talking about my people, please.
Listen, and the point of it is to not experience
no.
pleasure.
My question is,
because
where did you learn this? Where did you learn this?
Okay, bro. Listen, I told you I grew up around a lot of Jewish people. I was right on Marty.
So you think me as a Jew, I know less about that topic than you? Is what you're saying?
I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that it's not a myth, bro. It's a real thing.
Do you want to bet?
It's a myth. Okay, well, how is it a myth then? Explain
because
to
it's simply not true.
Where did it originate from then? If it's not true,
how would I know where it originated from?
But hold on.
I think I know where every myth originates from.
No, but listen to me though. Every myth's got to have some truth to it for it to be a myth. Otherwise, it wouldn't originate. It's got to originate from somewhere.
I'll tell you where.
Somebody didn't just sit there and wake up one day and was like,
oh
yeah, like you know.
Let me answer. Or are you going to keep talking?
Okay, go.
In Judaism, there's a belief of modesty, that a woman should not show her hair to anyone else than her husband. That's why they wear wigs. Or sometimes they wear what's called a shtetl, which is like a hijab. So it's
a hijab, but go on.
Is it? I think it's a hijab.
Well, spell it for me, please.
Hijab. Hijab.
What is hi? When you say hi, what is this? How does it sound? Okay. Okay, so hold on. Well, let's stop there. So hi is high.
Yeah.
Okay, now sound out jab.
Jab.
Now combine them.
Hijab.
Hijab.
So you think the proper pronunciation is what?
Hijab.
And I think it's hijab. The comments will let us know. Okay. So you asked me where it originated from. That's where just like there's a myth that if you get a tattoo, you cannot be buried in a Jewish cemetery. That's 100% a myth. Otherwise, my grandfather wouldn't have been.
Now that you mention it, I don't think I've ever met a Jew with a tattoo, bro.
Sussy.
Sussy doesn't have any tats, bro.
Bro, are you kidding me? Sussy has a big Israel tat right here.
Just on top.
And he's going to be buried in a Jewish cemetery. So now, Chris, if you don't mind, we're going to look up that.
Well, there was one thing I did want to get into before we get a little bit sidetracked.
We're not sidetracked. We're on that topic right now.
No, but with the children thing. No, I know. But did you know, actually, fun fact, do you know what a Heterite is? Or a Mennonite? A Heterite.
I know what a Mennonite is.
Okay, what's a Mennonite?
The Amish people.
No, that's not now. They're completely different. You got Mormons, Amish, Mennonite, and Heterite. Okay? Now I'm going to educate you a little bit here. So I learned a lot about, well, no, it's not. It's actually on the topic. So Mennonites, right? They're people that left Germany back when the Holocaust was happening because they didn't agree with the extremist views of Hitler, right? Okay. For obvious reasons. So they left Germany and they went to a lot of these different South American and Central American countries, right? Mexico and South. Think Costa Rica has a lot of them. Colombia, Ecuador, Peru. There's some Mennonite not colonies, what do they call them?
Communities?
Communities, thank you, in Mexico. And then they slowly started working their way up. So there's actually Mennonite communities, particularly more out in the West here in Canada as well, and in the Midwest out in the States. So anyways, what I'm trying to get at with the Mennonites, going back to the whole children for procreation type thing, or sex for procreation, the Mennonites, what they do is, so they go out because they only have children within their communities, right? Because they don't like to mix their bloodline. So there's a lot of incestual stuff going on there. But what happens is eventually they need to like spread it out a bit because the babies are born with a lot of problems, right? For obvious reasons. So they go out of their communities and they find guys at these local bars and local clubs, bro, that fit their look, which is, white, blonde hair, blue eyes, okay? And they pay these guys to fuck their wives, bro. It's fucking crazy. They'll go up to them and be like, hey, look, we're going to bring you back to the community. You're going to, give it to my wife. You can't ever see her. She's just going to have a sheet over her and you're just going to give it to her.
Sheet.
I'm telling you, bro, listen.
I can't comment on this one because I don't know about it. But Chris, if you don't mind, on Google, type in the following. Can Orthodox Jewish people, sorry, not can, do Orthodox Jewish people use a sheet to have sex?
Do Orthodox Jewish? Yeah.
And Google is good enough that they should know. Use a sheet to have sex. And you already, how much did you bet on me? How much?
We haven't bet yet, but I'm pretty sure this is accurate, bro.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Do Orthodox Jews have sex through a sheet? There you go.
Read
MyJewishLearning.com.
Read underneath it.
What?
Read underneath
This
it.
common myth is completely false. Okay, so what? We're gonna take
Anybody,
MyJewishLearning.com at face value here, bro.
You just were so happy about reading it.
Can Jews wear condoms? Why is that a common question?
No, we
bro?
cannot wear condoms.
Why not? I didn't know that. What?
That's a sin. You cannot waste your seed.
What?
See, there's a lot of things you don't know, and you've been listening to fucking Walter about having a sheet through Jews.
I wonder what happened to that guy. I don't know what happened
Bro,
to that guy.
you say it with such conviction. That's the problem with conviction. You have to know what you're talking
Because, bro, listen.
about. They don't use a sheet.
I was raised with this belief. What do you expect me to?
You should ask a Jewish person about it.
I have. I talked to many Jews about it, and this is what
no
they
one
told me.
confirmed that. Nobody confirmed
They
that.
might have confirmed it.
No, they didn't.
I can't.
Okay, I'm glad. So that's 3 out of 3.
Wait,
Give me
no,
another
but
dab up.
why can't Jews wear condoms though?
I told you it's a sin to waste your semen. That's one of the sins in the Torah. Like
So
masturbation.
you guys can't jerk off either.
No, you cannot. It's one of the biggest sins actually to waste. That's why you see Jews have so many children, because every time they bust a nut, it's going in the proper place.
What?
Mhm.
No, man. There's no way. There's a couple of Jews definitely in the bathroom just pulling one, bro. There's no
I'm
way.
sure there are. Jews aren't perfect. We commit sins all the time. But that's
I didn't know it was that serious, bro. I know in Islam, like
is that serious.
you can't masturbate. Like
Oh,
it's,
I
it's
didn't
actually
know
a
that.
pretty serious thing. Well, you can't. You well,
I'm
like
not-
you're not supposed to. You're not
Yeah,
supposed
well,
to masturbate.
same thing in Judaism.
They're very strict with that. And actually, one of the things that actually Tate was talking about when he did the conversion to Islam was that he left Christianity because Christianity tolerates a lot of bullshit.
Mhm.
And me being Christian and having been raised Christian, I unfortunately have to agree with that. We tolerate a lot of nonsense that the world puts out there on display.
Why do you think that is?
And the Islamic religion is one of the very few religions that doesn't. They
Judaism
actually shun a lot of these diabolical, one could argue, activities.
One thing
right?
about Islam is, where I give respect to it, is they
They're very committed.
maintain their religion and their traditions very well.
Yeah, they're very, very committed. Very, very committed. So that's what I was saying. So they don't give in, and that's essentially was his main reasoning for conversion. The fact that in Christianity, like, did you know that there's gay? Like, and again, look, man, I don't care if you're gay, if you're not gay, to each their own. But at the end of the day, I did grow up with a religious belief, and so in the Bible, right, there was a city, or it was a city. It was a decent sized city, and it was called Sodomy and
Sodom and Gomorrah.
That's right. It was a big, so you know about it. So there was a lot of things that were happening in the city, a lot of homosexual activities, right? And so in the Bible, it speaks to that, and that's why today I believe the word sodomy
I was going to say, I think that's right.
used. Yeah, it's used. Is that by definition, sodomy means anal penetration,
Yeah,
right?
I think
And it stems from that city, right, that was spoken from in the Bible, where a lot of these homosexual activities were happening, right? And so essentially, God kind of gave a lot of attempts for them to correct the behavior in a sense, right? And again, we're speaking, back in the day, right? So
4,000 years ago.
yeah, so they didn't, and essentially, the story goes that the city kind of vanished and he blew it off.
Did
right?
anybody
Like,
escape?
There was a couple actually, people that did escape,
And what
but they were told that when you're leaving that city, you turn back, you turn into stone,
Turned to a pillar of
and
salt.
guess who turned. So
Was it-
out of the man, the child, and the woman, guess who didn't listen and turned
The
back?
woman.
That's
What
right.
was her name?
Sarah.
I'm not 100% certain. But
I don't remember actually. That's a good
I
question.
know-
What was her name?
I know there are many historical references to
Sodomy and
looking,
Gomorrah.
not just Sodom and Gomorrah, but looking back where you're not supposed to and turning into a pillar of salt or a stone.
Mhm.
Actually, even recently, you'd be surprised where that actually happens.
Where?
I would have to send it to you, but there's military references where I can't get too deep into it because it's kind of crazy, but there's military references to.
Fuck, bro.
You would call me crazy.
You're a conspiracy theorist. Like
It's not a
you believe
conspiracy
in all
theory.
these random crazy things like
How is-
Elon Musk is out there. Elon Musk is half autistic, bro.
It's not
Do you know
half
that?
autistic, he's autistic.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of people are autistic.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm just saying, like the guy's not all there, bro. He's obviously socially awkward. He's got more access to his brain than we do.
Yeah, I
right?
would love to be socially awkward and have access to my brain like that. I'd take that in an instant, wouldn't you?
It depends on what kind of life you want to live. You know what I mean? Like the
I
guy.
want to have a life where I change the world. We talked about this, and you're like,
Yeah, well, you know
we can't
what?
do
You know,
that,
well, you know what?
blah,
You know
blah,
what? As men, you know, like that's what we leave behind, a legacy. You know what I mean? And it's important, right? That's why Trump is doing everything he can to try to get into power again. Because at the end of the day, I'm a firm believer that money to him, it doesn't matter anymore. It does.
To who?
It's got to a guy like Trump. It's gone above money. He knows he's only got 10, 15 years to try to impact the world in a manner in which he's going to be written in the history books. And I mean, he will now because he became president. But he's really trying to make a difference because that's what lives on. He understands that it's the legacy now. It's become about the legacy. And this is why he needs to go into presidency, because he's somebody that is really going to have America's interest at heart. Why? Because his own self-interest is to create a legacy that he's going to be remembered for. And in order to do that, he's got to bring America to the forefront. He's got to take them back to the number one country in the world, right? So by default, because of his personal self-interest, America's gonna benefit. You see what I'm saying? So he needs to get elected back into presidency because, well, I mean, the other options aren't that great. Let's be honest here.
He's facing jail time.
No, he's not.
He's not?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Did you hear that story, Oscar?
I'd seen it. Yeah, I seen it.
So allegedly,
No, not allegedly. It happened. Like this.
well, we don't know. We don't know. There's a lot of posts that aren't actually.
You know what?
I'll
Actually, because of the source, you're right. It is alleged. It is
allegedly,
alleged.
this nice young man was making $98,000 a year as a data scientist for the Toronto Dominion Canada Trust Bank, was terminated his employment after sharing a video boasting about the abundance of free food he receives from charity food banks. Now, Oscar, if this is true, and he's actually earning $100,000 a year salary, and he's taking advantage or accessing the opportunities we have in Canada to go to a food bank, is that immoral or is that fine?
We actually just had this talk not too long ago, less than an hour ago, when I was eating my delicious burrito. You might not remember it like that, but we were talking about how expenses, right? So the difference between the rich and the poor is that the rich, no matter how much money they make, right, they don't increase or improve their lifestyle
Not true.
unless there's a big disparity. Yes, it is. When 100% is true. 100% is true.
Okay,
There's
well,
got to be a big
sure.
disparity between what they make and their lifestyle in order for them to actually improve it. You see what I'm saying? So, for example,
I agree.
if you were to make $100,000 right now, you're gonna go and buy an $80,000 car.
You mean if I get paid $100,000?
If you were to make $100,000 in a year, are you gonna go and own an $80,000 car?
No, I couldn't afford it.
Okay, but that's what I'm trying to tell you, that the rich people don't improve their lifestyle.
Not to that degree, but as they earn more money, they spend more. Absolutely.
Not as they. No, not the
That's
rich.
not
No,
true.
they don't.
That's not true.
No, what you're saying is not true.
Well, what do you mean the rich? You've seen
Like,
people who are already billionaires, already millionaires? What are you talking
I'm
about?
talking about when you look
When
at
you go
when
from
look
poor to rich, you absolutely increase your expenditures and your monthly expenses. Absolutely.
Yeah, when you go from poor to rich,
So what
and
is-
that's a
what-
different.
so what
mentality.
are you saying?
So what I'm saying is that this gentleman over here who allegedly makes $98,000 a year, your question was, is it immoral?
Good. Answer it. I can answer it for you.
I don't think
Have the answer,
morality.
bro.
I don't think morality necessarily has. I mean,
Bro, listen.
he's smart. I mean, he's saving money, bro. Like, can we really knock the
I'm
guy
not asking you if he's
to
smart.
save money on
I'm not asking if he's
today's
smart.
economy?
Is
man?
it immoral?
It depends, bro. You know, I'll tell you this. I'll answer it this way. If he ain't doing it, somebody else will.
I'll tell you what.
So at the end of the day,
let me give you
know what I
give
mean?
you my answer. I think it's not immoral, and I'll tell you why. Although the food bank is specifically designed to give food for the less fortunate, people who cannot afford food, if you're making $98,000 salary as a single person in Toronto, you could barely afford food.
no,
It's
bro.
true.
No, listen.
Listen, of
It's
course,
not-
if you're paying
no.
rent, we already went through this episode
Oh,
one.
we-
If you're paying rent, you're paying
we-
car insurance, car financing, everything. You're gonna be tight on your budget for groceries.
No, but here's
so
the
I don't
thing.
blame him for
But
going
no,
to the food bank.
No,
I don't blame him.
Okay, but here's where I disagree with you. Everything you just said is a choice. He doesn't have to have a car. We live in Toronto. The transit system is very easily accessible. Number
Okay, so
one.
it's immoral.
Number two, you move the car out of the equation. There's now no insurance. There's now no gas. Okay. So all of these are choices that he is making. Some of these individuals that are homeless and don't have access to daily foods or daily, luxuries, or what we wouldn't consider luxuries, but to them would be,
Yeah.
say, in the form of a house, a
Yeah,
shower,
yeah,
a
yeah.
bed, right? They made choices to get to the point that they're at. And so at the end of the day, they now have access to the government that we live in, the food and the healthcare that gets provided to them. and they might not necessarily be able to go out there and make the $98,000 a year that this gentleman can make because they either don't possess the skill set or throughout the course of their life got addicted to drugs, ended up being homeless, and that's just what it ended
Oscar,
up being.
you said he's smart. How smart is he if he films it and posts it on TikTok and everybody looks at it? Now he got fired from his $98,000 job. Now he really needs to go to the food bank because he's unemployed.
He's smart with like the idea.
The
was
intent.
Smart. The idea was smart.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, he's trying to save money and
I agree the idea was smart,
like,
but actually I
like
take
for
back,
example, look, okay, so somebody living at home, okay, somebody living with their parents.
Yeah.
If you had the means, okay, let's create the situation. You're living at home, right?
Yeah.
And you have the means to go on and move on your own, right? But you're not uncomfortable. You really don't see a need to. Why the fuck would you move out of your home?
People
like,
move out.
What is the point?
People
Just to feed your ego and to say you got your own place?
Well,
What's the
I
point
think
of
at
that?
some degree.
So
I think people move out because
is it immoral? You know what I mean? Like you could ask the same
what
thing
immoral?
to live at home when you
Absolutely
have the,
not.
when you have the means to the means to be able to
because
do
it's
it.
different. Because when you live at home and you
it's
have the means, you're not taking that space from somebody else who needs it. In this case, this guy's taking food and he's probably taking from somebody who needs it. There's a certain reserve of food that's supposed to go to the less fortunate.
But you know what happens is when more people come in, that reserves, instead of getting divided by 100 people, it gets divided by 101 people. So you know what I mean? Like
it doesn't make a huge difference, but I understand why there's a lot of criticism for this guy. Have you heard about this guy? Okay.
Yeah. So
Umar Zamir, I looked into this. So this guy was found not guilty of all criminal charges, including first-degree murder.
Which I completely agree with.
It was about 3 years ago, Canada Day. He was with his wife and his 2-year-old daughter. They were in an underground parking garage. Apparently, there were 2 police officers in normal plain clothes, and he was trying to get out of the parking lot. Something to the effect of they were banging on his window. He was very scared. He reversed. He pulled out of there. In the process, he unintentionally ran over and killed, I think, at least 1 officer, if not 2. At least 1.
No, he just killed the one.
Just
he didn't
killed
kill
1.
These, yeah.
And his whole thing was, number 1, they didn't identify that they were police officers. I thought they were potentially criminals trying to rob me. So I backed out and got out of there as quickly as I could. In the process, I inadvertently ran the guy over. And they were trying to pin it as criminal charges. Of
course they are. Bro, I'm telling you right now, the worst position, the worst type of job to have, and I'm telling you, it's crown prosecutors. Those people.
Oh, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night.
Those people got to be genuinely evil at heart.
You know who I compare
they
those guys
have to be evil at heart.
Parking enforcement.
Parking
Isn't that the same? Same level, higher level, but same.
Like same mentality, you mean? What
are they providing to society?
Well, no, it's not. No, because the crown prosecutors provide to society.
If the guy's guilty,
they keep the public safe. So we'll start off with that. But it's the manner in which they go about doing it, because there's so much pressure from up top. Because here the thing is, the judicial system is a business first and foremost, right? When you have a jail and there's 50 beds in that jail, okay, those beds are expected to be filled. Now, if you have the jail that's half full, guess what? There's no money for the jail. There's half the money for the jail. They gotta pay the guards.
The jail is not for profit.
Who's telling you
it's a public business. It's a public entity.
They make
owned
money.
by the government.
They make money, bro. On average.
Yeah, the government makes money.
They charge. I think it's I think it's like $125,000 or $130,000 a year to house one inmate. And
that's the cost. They don't charge. That's the cost.
Who's paying for it?
The taxpayer.
Exactly. So how are they not charging?
So if they don't make
where's that
profit,
money coming from? Where's that money coming from?
More tax. They're just increasing taxes every day.
Bro, I'm telling you, there's a lot of money to be made in that industry. Without crime, you take crime out of the equation, okay? Look how many jobs crime on its own creates, right? You have all of these institutions that they're hiring guards, they're hiring cleaning staff, they're hiring cooks, they're hiring kitchens. They have
all paid from taxpayer money.
Exactly.
So if there were less crime, maybe we'd have more money in our pockets.
Well, if there was less, that's the thing. They're not interested in having less crime. They're interested in increasing crime. They put people in jail for the dumbest things, bro. Bro, there's guys that go in there for fucking literally fines. Like there's guys that if you don't pay certain parking tickets over a certain period of time, you get the option to either go to jail or pay it. Like, yeah, and you can just go to jail and sit there for 3 days. It's fucking crazy. Like, what's the point of that? They're making money, bro. And so what I was trying to get at with the crown prosecutor thing is, they're needed because obviously there's crime and people got to be put away. I get that. But they don't have to do what they do. Like, it's crazy, bro. Like, there's people that go in there, the situation's already bad enough. You know, let's say somebody stabs somebody, okay? Do you really need to play that up, bro? You just stab, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's already bad enough. Somebody got stabbed. It's already a shitty situation. Somebody got hurt. They're in the hospital. Why do you now got to go in there and make it? You know what I mean? Like they paint this person like the worst possible light because the goal is to try to
That's
get
their
the
job,
longest fucking possible sentence.
Right.
Who does that serve? What is the purpose of that?
Exactly. Yeah.
What is the purpose of putting this guy in jail for 20 years as opposed to like who's purpose?
benefiting
Yeah,
from
like
that?
who's really benefiting from that?
Who?
All you're doing is just really fucking this guy's ability
So you
to
think
try to.
the Crown
that's why
prosecutors get bad karma?
I honestly I hope they do, bro. I really do because they're not good people at heart,
Not
bro.
good people.
You can't be if you're in that job. There's no.
I don't think
fucking way,
anyone
man.
wakes up one day and says, "I want to be a Crown prosecutor and put people in prison." If they are, they're sick individuals.
Bro,
I think
I'm
it's like
telling you, man.
most people who probably
Like, how are you gonna? The guy has a wife and a daughter. You know, this is a huge win for like people out there that are constantly getting fucking convicted. Like, and there's so much gray area, by the way, for a lot of crimes out there too. Like, there's a lot of gray area. There's the one thing where you walk into a store and you rob a store. That's one thing, you know. But there's a lot of gray area.
You know why there's gray area in this case? There was no video evidence of what happened. It was all they were reconstructing the scene based on testimony, and a lot of the officers are being considered for perjury for lying on stand for helping their fellow officers because they're saying things happened when they actually didn't. I think the lawyer in this case was great. And correct me if I'm wrong, Oscar, but doesn't in a case like this where he's charged for first-degree murder, does he have to stay in jail until the trial, or can he get out on bail?
No, you can, but it's very rare. So the only time you ever get out on bail when you've been charged with first degree or second degree murder is if it's a really weak case. It's got to be a weak case. Then they'll consider letting you out on bail because there's a good chance that you're probably not guilty. But for 9 out of 10 times, if you've been charged with first degree murder, capital murder, really, you're not getting out on.
Imagine this guy away for 3 years from his family, facing charges where he's not guilty.
Well, I think he was on bail, bro.
Was he?
I think so because it was a weak case. I'm fairly certain he was on bail.
Maybe, well, the news made it seem like he was away, but I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't think he was in prison that entire time.
But if he was, he should get some money.
See, that's the thing. Doesn't really work that way. It's all that time. They just call it that time, right? And the worst thing is when you get charged with first or second degree murder. So when you're in jail, they give you like a day and a half for every day because the conditions in the remands, it's overpopulated.
What's the remand again?
The remand is where you go pre-trial custody, right? Pre-trial custody. You haven't been proven guilty. So the whole idea behind the extra time for every day that you're in there is, well, because you haven't been proven guilty, there's still the chance, as little as it may be, that you're not guilty. So in that event, you know, we're giving you kind of that extra credit so that if you do get convicted or whatever, at least you got the credit. Also, it's because the time is really shit. There's no TVs, there's no phones, there's phones, but they're old dial phones. There's no like the food is garbage. There's not really much you can do as far as like quality of life wise. So they give you more time for every day that you spend in there, right? You're locked down more. It's not an overall good situation, right? So generally they give out when Stephen Harper was prime minister for a while there, he took that time and a half away and it was just 1 for 1. So that fucking sucked because back in the day it used to be 2 for 1. So they used to, for every one day they went there, they'd be doing 2. So what a lot of these guys do is they strategically stay in the remand in the shittier conditions for a longer period of time so they could just walk out on time serve, right? Particularly when it was 2 for 1. So if you know that roughly your lawyer's telling you, hey, you know, you beat somebody up pretty badly, you're getting charged with, you know, aggravated assault causing bodily harm, you're probably looking at 2 years in jail. You know, if you just sit 1 year in the remand, your time served because you're getting 2 for 1. So they kind of just play the system.
Can you choose where you can stay?
Well, what do you mean? Which remand you can stay? Well, there's really only one here. There's the provincial jails serve as remand, but the main one is Toronto South, down by Mimico, right? Then you got your provincial jails like Lindsay, out in Peterborough and Lindsay area. Then you got Maplehurst out in Milton. So there's different provincial jails that take some remanded people when the remand gets too packed because it gets overpopulated. They start putting 3 guys to a room, 4 guys to a room. So it starts getting a little bit out of hand, right? And as the conditions worsen, particularly during COVID, they start giving out more time for every day that you spend in there. So what I was trying to get at is with first degree and second degree murder charges, these guys don't get that benefit. They get day for day. So every day you're in there.
So depending on your charges.
Yeah. Well, these are the only charges that you just get day for day, first degree and second degree. Anything else, manslaughter, any other charges, you get your day and a half. But these guys only get day for day. But with them, they're parole eligible, right? So eligibility on parole is dependent on whatever time you got left when you get sentenced. So, I'll give you an example. Let's say you got sentenced to 8 years, right? But you sat remanded for 2 years. They're giving you a day and a half for every day that you sat remanded. So the 2 years equates to 3. So the original sentence of 8 years, you take off the 3 years you've already served. You got 5 left to serve. You've now get taken into the federal system because there's 2 systems, your provincial and your federal. So provincial is any sentence less than 2 years, so a deuce less, 2 years less a day. And any sentence a deuce plus, which is 2 years plus a day, is a federal sentence, right? You always want to go federal because federal quality of life is completely different. You get a TV, you get to wear your own clothes, you get access to like gyms and sports, and it's a whole different quality of life in the federal system, right? But a lot of guys don't like going federal because with that also comes a lot more issues in jail, right? That's sort of where like the more hardcore stuff goes down in the federal system, right? So in any event, if you got 8 years, you get credited for the 3 that you spent remanded because you did 2, they counted it for 3. Now you got 5 left. Out of the 5, you're eligible for parole 6 months. You're eligible for parole a third of that time, but your first eligibility is 6 months before the third. So out of 5 years, it's 60 months. A third is 20 months. You'd be able to go up for parole after 14 months, right? So lifers, their eligibility for parole is right off the hop. So from the day that they go into jail, if they get convicted of a first degree or a second degree murder, as soon as they got into the day they got arrested, their parole eligibility continues counting. Whereas for everybody else, they get that extra day and a half. But all that time, all that credited time, they don't look at a third of 8 years. They look at a third of 5 years.
You know a lot about jail.
Yeah, I did a little bit of a research on it. Yeah. My question is, how do you feel about a bunch of East Indians, 20 East Indians that they found in Brampton, living in a basement, paying like I think it's like anywhere between $300 to $500 a pop? And then I said, that's an example of them taking it right there.
I don't think they're necessarily. Well, maybe
they're absolutely taking it.
Well, they're
bro.
willingly taking it in order to get a cheaper price. They can very well find a.
Can they? Can they afford it?
That's a good point. Maybe
I don't think they have that choice, bro.
Well, no,
I think
they
you're
moved to Canada knowing it was going to be expensive, so they're doing what it takes to make it. A lot of I have a lot of Indian clients, and a lot of them share a similar story: coming to Canada, getting 3 jobs, living in a room, paying rent, saving up, having a wife, buying a place. So a lot of those situations are temporary. Sure, it might be packed in there, but it's probably similar conditions to what they have in India, maybe, or better.
That's a good point.
And
That's a good point.
they would not have as
that.
hard of a time doing it as you and I would, because clearly either they're used to it or they're doing it knowing that they're not doing it like, damn, I came to Canada, I have to live in this basement with 20 other people. No, they're doing it. I came here. This is what I have to do. I'm saving some money. I'm going to school. I'm getting a degree, or I'm getting a job, and I'm saving up money so I can buy a house. They're doing what it takes. Whereas other people are renting, paying $2,000 a month, complaining that it's so hard to get ahead, which it is. And not everyone's willing to live in a basement with 20 people. Not to mention it's illegal. And a lot of the city councilors are cracking down on these, what they call slum landlords.
Slumlords.
Bro, I have, there's different degrees, right? 20 people in a basement. I also have some clients who rent out their house to 6 students and are cash flowing pretty good. That I don't think is immoral or wrong, because everyone has their own room. They share maybe a bathroom, but they're paying $600 a month.
$600 for a fucking room, bro?
No, a room and all access to the full house. They get to play ping pong. They go in the backyard.
I wouldn't
It's
want to. I wouldn't want to live with fucking random people. But think about it, man.
As students.
Everybody's on
It's
different.
students.
I guess
It's college.
Yeah, I guess
It's not like they're adults.
Yeah. Fair. Well,
know?
I mean, they are technically adults.
Oh, yeah,
but
they're
I get
adults.
what you're
Yeah, I know-
saying.
I know
I
what
get
you're
what you're saying.
Okay,
I get your point.
now let's move on to this gold heist, which I think was absolutely incredible.
I don't understand why this guy's even in the country. Like, is this
That's
guy
what
retarded?
I'm saying.
But that's why.
He
but
was
that's why I'm
traveling
saying
around.
It makes
This
no
guy's
sense.
famous on social media now. He was in the last year. He's been traveling to Dubai, to England, to different places.
The guy's an imbecile, bro.
Well, yeah, if they did something like that, why don't you move out?
Yeah, first of all, if you do something of that magnitude and you're gonna be fucking walking around flashing it like an imbecile, then you kind of deserve to get caught, to be honest, in my opinion. At the very least, he should have fucking hopped on a plane, gone to Dubai, changed his name, never came back. And if you're gonna post online, fucking pay for some hair transplants or something so you look different, bro. Because I don't know what you're thinking, just waltzing around at the Lifetime gym. Have you been to that Lifetime, by the way? It's up in Vaughan.
Well, this was after he got arrested.
I know. This is him out on bail.
No,
but,
he's walking with his chest out. He's saying, I can do whatever I want. Look at me.
no, he's
I respect that.
He's an idiot. So
He's an idiot for staying in Canada, not for going to
so
Good
you know
Life.
where we used to go to drop out the orders at the Star, the building.
Yeah.
So right beside it, they opened up Lifetime. I don't know if you know that.
Okay.
So Lifetime, it's a fancy gym. It's a luxurious gym. Like you pull up and the parking lot's full of like fancy cars, Ferraris, fucking Lambos, all kinds of crazy shit. It's $250 a month.
Really?
Yeah, in the gym you got it. They got everything, bro. They got bars,
They got
clubs, restaurants, massages.
What, free massage?
They got daycares. Well, I don't know if it's probably that's the extra services you got to pay for, but there's everything in there. They got barbers.
Daycare?
Yeah, so if you got your kid,
Really?
yeah,
That's
bro,
a good
it's,
idea.
it's crazy, and
Smart.
they even got a playground, bro. They got like an outdoor playground, and it's fucking crazy. So it's not just a gym; it's got like a bar, like it's an all-in-one essentially. Jack of all trades. You want a haircut? You're at the gym. You can get a haircut. You want a drink? You're at the gym.
Can you go there just for a haircut?
Yeah, why? I mean, why not? Yeah,
then let
like,
me ask you
it's
this.
not like they're monitoring where you're working
Now
out.
look
or
at this,
not.
bro. Lifetime Fitness banned one of the individuals for no apparent reason. What are your thoughts
So
on that?
not one of the individuals. They banned this particular individual.
Yeah, one of the individuals who stole the gold. You can't just ban someone because they're a criminal. That's discrimination.
I think it's the attention he was garnering. I don't think it's necessarily the
I know
fact
why
that he's
they
a
did it.
criminal.
No, I know.
think it's the attachment to the brand.
Yeah, because
That's what
they
it comes
filmed a
down to.
video and they said, look at this criminal or alleged criminal
Yeah.
who got out on bail and is using your gym.
Yeah.
They want to save face. And they want to show that they're
Okay, now
you know,
here, now
but
here.
that's illegal. You can't do that. They're gonna get sued big time.
I don't think.
If I was friends with this guy or if I was his lawyer, I would sue right away.
first of all, we got to start at the beginning.
He's
here.
not going to jail.
This guy, he's 100% going to
He's
jail.
not going to
and that's
jail.
not the point.
They have no evidence.
The point is, he's a fucking idiot. Why is he even on? Why is he on Canadian turf to begin with?
Clearly,
shouldn't
he didn't
be-
think it through, or they thought they were untouchable.
Well, he thought it through enough.
There's
to
one
pull it
guy who
off.
went to India.
You know, they pulled this off like 3 years ago or like 2 years ago. Something
No,
like that.
exactly 1 year ago.
Was it 1 year ago?
Yeah.
Okay. Regardless, you had a whole fucking year. You could have been literally anywhere in the
You know
world,
what I
and you
think
chose
happened?
to stay
You know
in
what I think
Canada.
happened? A few months passed
wrong with
by.
people, bro?
A few months passed by. They melted the gold. They got a few million. They're living it up. They think, oh, a few months passed by. They didn't get me. I'm on. It got to their head.
First of all, how are they even fencing this gold? Like,
What do you mean? That's the easiest part.
no.
Gold is untraceable. Once you melt it down, there's no serial number. You can go to any of the 15, 20 cash for gold shops, and
Oh, you know that Cash Oliver guy? He's Jewish.
Oliver's Jewish. Yeah, a lot of those guys are Jewish.
The Cash guy. He has the song.
Cash
I'm
Man.
the Cash Man.
Harold's
Yeah,
also
yeah,
Jewish,
yeah,
but
that guy,
Harold's
yeah.
a piece of shit. Yeah, so
Wait,
getting
who's
rid of
Harold? Harold too.
Harold the jewelry buyer. You haven't seen him?
Oh, I have seen
He's a
Harold.
piece
the
of garbage.
Jewelry.
He got his mortgage license revoked.
Did he?
He goes on CP24. I'll give you a second private mortgage, a third private mortgage, a fourth private mortgage, and he's screwing people. He's not a good guy, Harold, at all. I don't like the guy at all. He's bad. He should take off his kippah. He's a bad image for us.
You think so?
I know so.
What about Oliver? Oliver's all right.
Well, he gives off like scammy type vibes.
Well, of
I
course
never
he
dealt
does,
with him,
bro.
so I can't say whether he's good or not. But a lot of those
The guys are
Look,
shyster.
a lot of those cash for gold places are not super moral because you're coming in to sell your gold. A lot of times though, where they make money on the cash for gold is for
Yeah,
people.
go to images, Chris. Yeah. Put a face to this guy. This guy right here.
Yeah.
Oh, he looks like a nice old Jewish
But-
guy.
No, he doesn't. Well, he looks Australian. Listen, do you know how a lot of these guys make money? The old grandmas who come in and they don't know the value of their gold. They can have $1,000 ring. Oliver might say, it's $200. I'll give you $100 here.
That's a little extreme, bro. Because now we're talking about such a low level of the old grandmas.
No, most of the time,
Yeah.
the people who sell the gold are either desperate, uneducated, or don't know the value of their gold. Think about it.
A combination of all three is usually the case.
Or a criminal
But he's
who needs to sell stolen gold and will take a cheap price, like these guys. They probably had $22 million in gold, and they would be willing to sell it for $18
He
million.
capitalizes on it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, man. Everybody right now is capitalizing on
Well,
everything
again,
around the
Mr. Giving
corner.
and taking it.
It is.
No, it's
true.
not about giving and taking
But
it.
sometimes it is, bro. The guy's making money. Who cares? It is what it is. You're gonna
course
knock, you're gonna knock the guy because he maybe
If he takes advantage of old grandmas, absolutely. I'm gonna
Okay,
knock the
maybe
guy.
not
You can
old-
make money in a moral way. You don't have to fuck people. That's where you always get it twisted, bro. Okay?
all I'm saying, man, is this guy shouldn't even have been here. I don't
What they
even know
should have
he's done.
done, listen, it's harder when you have families because then you have to, take your family, get passports or whatever, go to Dubai and take your whole life out of school, say goodbye to their friends.
Families, what are you going
These
on
guys
about?
have families, bro.
Buddy, they hop them on the plane and they fucking skid out of the
I'm
families
saying
aren't
it's-
wanted.
I'm saying it's not as easy just to uproot your family and leave as
Listen.
opposed to if you're single.
You should have thought about that before you did it then.
Of course he should have.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about?
So I was
if you're
honestly
gonna do
surprised.
something of this magnitude, you got to have the understanding that if you pull it off, which they did, you got to go.
So clearly,
Why are you still walking around?
Clearly, they got so cocky after they pulled off that heist for 22 million, they thought they were untouchable.
How many of them? There was like 10 of them, eh?
I think there's one suspect still at large.
I know,
and
but
he's an Indian.
how many of them
I think
were
there was
there?
9. 8
Nine.
of East Indian descent, one of
So they're making like they made 2.2 million each. That's it.
no, bro. First of all, they 22 million gold and 2 million foreign currency. That's 24 million
Oh,
divided
2 million foreign currency.
yeah,
Okay.
divided by 9 is
Okay.
approximately
I-
2.5 ish.
Yeah, but that's
Okay.
I didn't know
Plus,
there was an extra two.
the
but-
value of the gold has risen approximately 20% since 1 year ago. So depending on if they liquidated the gold and sold it for cash, they walked away with a good 2.5 million each. If they split it equally, but I'm sure they each got different
I
percentages.
don't know if I'd consider that for 2 million, bro. I don't know if that's enough, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, they did,
bro, like he's looking at serious time. I'll tell you this right now,
bro.
Just conspiracy alone is 10 years.
Not all these
Okay.
guys got conspiracy.
I
A lot of
understand
these,
that, but
a lot
I'm
of the
telling
charges
you,
were low. Apparently, the charge is theft over 5,000. So you're telling
yeah,
me that
anything. That's how
So
it
you're
works.
telling me the charge
Anything.
for stealing $5,000 and stealing 5 million is the same?
It's the
is
same.
the jail time
It's
the same?
But this is
Is the jail time the same?
it's circumstantial, not necessarily the same, but remotely. Like there's a max to it. But the thing is, that's what I was trying to explain to you earlier. There's a lot of charges. Remember how I said it's not as simple as you walk into a store and you rob it. Like that's more of a straightforward charge. But there's a lot of charges with a lot of fucking like the spectrum is huge. Like that. That's a perfect example. Theft over 5,000, or whether it's 5,000 or 5 million. You're roughly looking at around the same time. Like
So it's good that they
like a theft over 5,000 could be a car. Okay, you steal a car, you might be looking at 3-4 months. You steal 5 million, you're probably looking at 5 years. But when I say it's somewhat close, it's relative because it sounds like a lot to you, right? But I'm telling you, 5 years, you don't do that much time. You're talking 14
The money's
months.
gone. They're not, unless they have to pay restitution, even if they
Well,
go to jail.
well, they
A
just-
lot of these guys, bro, were smiling in their mugshots. They have something to smile about. So clearly, they stashed some
2
of that
million.
money, they sent it back home to India, and their family's taken care of. So they know even if
Look,
they get
look,
10, 20
if that's
years,
the case-
they help their family.
Well, no, 10, 20 years is serious time, bro. That's a serious bit.
Well, clearly he was willing to do that in order to save his family in
That's
India.
serious time, bro. That's a tough
I don't think they're
one,
going to get it. I think they had barely enough evidence to charge these
Look,
guys.
one thing-
I don't
thing-
think they're going to get convicted. And if they do, it's going to be super small. Do they have physical DNA evidence? What evidence do they have? I'm sure obviously they don't release
Well,
it to
it's
the public.
probably all going to come out as the story progresses.
I don't
but-
think they have a lot of evidence. They waited a year to catch these guys.
I
I
don't
think
thi-
it was that
Well,
the one black guy who got arrested with the guns
Well,
that
here's-
tipped all these guys off. He probably squealed.
Here's
probably ratted.
the thing. It changes from province to province across the country, right? So, for example, in Ontario, their conviction rate, I think it's something like 70 or 75%. So, pretty much, if you're
But
getting, if you're gonna get charged, there's a good chance you're gonna get convicted
on
it.
something, but not on everything.
No, but that's
could
what
take a plea
that's
deal.
what I'm trying to say. Like for example, out west, Alberta in particular has a terrible conviction percentage. They're sitting at like 17%.
listen,
So
here's
they'll
my
hit
question.
you with like
Here's
150
my question.
charges.
Here's my question.
And try to convict you on something.
Why can these guys who have $2 million available or more and are released on bail, why can they not get fake passports and travel to India or a country with no extradition treaty?
They don't need fake passports.
Okay, so why can't they leave now?
Unless they have a specific condition where they have to surrender their passports, they could hop on a plane and leave if they wanted to.
I'm sure they had to surrender their passport, bro. Otherwise, they would all leave.
In their case, yeah, but there's a lot of people that are
So
on bail.
assuming they had to surrender their
there's
passport.
people that are on bail that go on
Yeah,
vacation.
for
and
lesser
leave.
crimes. For lesser crimes. Listen, my point is, if they had to surrender their passport, is there anything stopping them from getting a fake passport and leaving?
No, there's nothing stopping them from walking across
So
the border.
here's my
There's parts
question.
that aren't even patrolled.
Here's my question. When the trial comes down, do you think the 9 individuals who are charged are going to show up? Or how many do you think are going to show up?
They'd be idiots if they did. They're looking at serious time. They're probably looking at just conspiracy alone is 10 years. You get more time for conspiring to do something than you do for actually doing it. Do you know that? So if you conspired to sell drugs or to import drugs, you would get 10 plus years for that. But if you actually got caught selling the drugs while they're already here, you'd only be getting looking at 3 to 4, 5 years maybe. It's just fucking crazy. They take the conspiracy very, very seriously because it shows a step of premeditation.
Yeah, premeditation.
And they hate that. They want to eliminate that like the plague because they don't like people having these thoughts. They want to eliminate people even having the thought. So that's why they punish that harder.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
to me, which I get, but at the same time, it's a little ridiculous. Like you'd get more time for attempted murder than you would for actually killing the person, which is fucking crazy.
That's hard to believe, bro.
No, it's 100% true.
You get more time.
You get more time for
attempted murder
than actually
murder.
listen to me. When you try to attempt on somebody's life, okay, and you end up, let's say, not killing them, you're
Mhm.
probably looking at 11, 12, 13 years. When you kill somebody, it could constitute as manslaughter.
I'm not talking about
I've seen-
manslaughter. I'm talking about first degree.
No, first degree is different. That's
So you have to be specific when you talk about that.
First degree is premeditated murder.
And so what's second degree?
Second degree is circumstantial. So it's essentially if you walk into your house, you're not planning to kill anybody, but you walk into your house and some fucking black guy is just giving it to your wife. You know what I mean? You get a little bit upset. You go down to the kitchen. You're like, fuck this guy.
Oh, so it
grab
wasn't
a knife.
premeditated.
Yeah. So it's a
So what's going to be a higher time offense?
first degree. First
No,
degree
no,
is
no,
an
no.
automatic.
Second degree or attempted murder? Do you know?
Second degree, of course, it's worse because
Okay.
second degree you're still a lifer. But what I'm saying is, there's a lot of guys in there who are killers, bro. But they get convicted of manslaughter, the lesser charge, because sometimes it's not as strong of a case. The prosecutor doesn't feel as confident, so they offer a plea deal on a manslaughter charge for maybe 10 years, 8 years, 6 years.
Do you think they offer that in that Amir guy's cases where he ran over the police officer? Do you think they?
So look, I actually met a guy so he was at a club with his buddies, right? Super nice guy, bro. One of the nicest guys I've met in my life, like hands down. And I hope he's doing good actually, but so he was at a club with his buddy. Fight popped off, okay? He jumped into the fight and he hit a guy and the guy dropped and died, okay? He got out on bail because it was a weak case in the sense that, there was a lot of commotion going around. It was not premeditated in his case.
Right.
It was a situation where, it wasn't intended, but unfortunately it ended up happening. The guy died. So what happened to this guy? Well, he got out on bail. He was on bail for 3 years, fought it the whole time. His lawyer, he was paying his lawyer good money, and his lawyer was telling him, look, we're going to beat it. They got a weak case. We're good. Don't worry. Took it to trial, listened to his lawyer. Right when trial was coming up, the prosecution said, look, I'll give you a deal, manslaughter, 7 years. He said, no, fuck that. I'm not taking manslaughter 7 years. I'm beating this, right? Because they thought that, well, it's a weak case. We're going to beat it. Otherwise, why the fuck are they even trying to offer us any deals, right? So then sure enough, they go into court. And here's the thing. When you're going into court at trial, you can either pick a judge or a jury. Okay,
You have that option.
you do have that option.
Oh,
as
shit.
as the person as the defendant, you have the option for either judge or jury. Now, if it's a jury, you get to pick the defense picks half, so they pick 6, and the crown picks
What
6.
do you mean they pick 6?
They pick the jury process, bro. They bring people in, right, on jury duty, and they determine whether or not this person, like both.
So as a defendant, if I pick jury, I get to pick some of the
you
jurors?
don't. Your lawyer does.
Okay.
The
I
defense
didn't know that.
gets to
Crazy.
pick. Yeah, the defense
And the prosecutor gets
and
to
the
pick the other?
prosecutor gets to pick. But it's got to be agreeable on both ends. So you get to pick 6. They pick 6. But your 6, the prosecutor's got to be like, yeah, you know what I mean. And their 6 is the same thing, just so that
Okay,
it's on a fair playing ground, right? So you can pick either a jury or a judge. Now on a jury, right? All it takes is one of the jury members to not agree or like to say that like you're not guilty for you to be found not guilty. So the only way you get found guilty when it's a jury trial is if you have a unanimous decision. If all 12 say, yeah, this guy did
Right.
it, right? So all it takes is for the defense to convince one. If there's any doubt in one of their heads, then you're good. You're walking out.
Okay.
If you pick a, so that's kind of like the I guess benefit of having a jury. With a judge, right? The whole benefit behind it is they're more experienced. They're used to hearing cases, so they don't really eat up the shit that the prosecutor says because they make it sound fucking like we were talking before, a lot worse than it is.
Yeah.
Right. So they have the experience to kind of like pick what they want to hear from the prosecutor because they know the prosecutors talk shit is what it comes down to, right? Whereas the juries don't. These are regular people, so they can be they're more easily influenced than say a judge,
for sure,
right?
for sure.
So, he picked a judge, right? He went down the judge route. And the deal was manslaughter 7 years. He said, fuck no. He was going up on second degree murder charges, right? And he got convicted, bro.
What evidence did they have?
And
do
he
you know?
got, well, they had, I have no idea. I didn't go into that, but he got convicted. He got a life sentence, right? So he got the shortest life sentence you could possibly get. He got life 10, which whenever you get a life sentence, it means that the government of Canada has you until the day you die. Actually, a year after you die, they still have you because they want to verify and make sure that you've died. Because some people fake their own deaths to get freed of the life sentence. So,
Does he regret picking a judge?
yeah. Well, he rolled the dice, man. The guy was a gambler. He was an Asian guy.
Well, sure, he rolled the dice to go to trial,
big-time
but
gambler.
he should have picked jurors, no?
Well, I think he regrets not having taken the manslaughter
Well, now
7
he does, yeah.
because that was back in 2012. So, anyways, he got life 10, and his eligibility for parole is 10. He's out now. He's at a halfway house, but really nice guy. But yeah, like situation like that, you know what I mean? Like that's a really shitty situation. It's get life.
Yeah.
You're out of the club with a buddy, and that's what fucking pops
Well,
off, right?
Shit happens.
But yeah, going back to the whole attempted murder thing, yeah, you could get convicted of manslaughter, get only 5-6 years. You know what I mean? Like that's God live was he got that, and he well, You know, the guy that I'm currently living with, he got manslaughter 7, right? And his was a self defense situation, but he originally got charged with second degree murder.
Hard to claim self-defense in Canada, but
Very, very difficult.
Yeah.
That's why that case with this this guy that just got released, that wasn't convicted, that was getting charged with first degree murder, that's huge, bro. That's huge.
yeah,
'Cause that
it
doesn't
sets a
happen.
precedent for future cases.
That's right. It really does. Right. It's a big win for I guess people just in
Yeah, bro.
general, you know, that are going up on it.